Welcome in, folks. This is your Miami's semi-fascist Ray Smiley coming to you live from the free state of Florida, where we do have an impending gubernatorial election, in which my hypothesis is that Charlie Crist is going to get the floor mopped with his own arse, because he already said, if your heart is full of hate, I don't want your vote. If you're one of those DeSantis people, then he said, thank God for Joe Biden. And, well, just so happens, Charlie Crist is and has been Florida's, if not part of the country's biggest teacher's pet, folks. First off, I believe I said this in a previous program that I did. Maybe it was last week's. I'm pretty sure it was last week's, where maybe it was the one that got taken down for hate speech. I still don't know what that hate speech was, nor did I really care, because you can only give hate speech if you're talking nasty about Democrats. What Joe Biden said last night, on the other hand, was the total definition of hate speech, and I don't know how it's allowed to be on YouTube, but I digress. Now, so I had explained that Charlie Crist primarily only got elected because of the American Federation of Teachers and multiple teachers unions around the state. The American Federation of Teachers is the biggest teachers union in the country, in which 78% of Florida teachers happen to be a member of. They have this here from the Wall Street Journal, over $500,000 to Charlie Crist. And it's not much of a surprise that Mr. Crist chose Carla Hernandez Motz as his running mate. She is president of the United Teachers of Dade for Miami-Dade County. She is also the vice president of the American Federation of Teachers, headed by Randy Weingarten. Now, Motz was a huge opponent of bringing back in-person learning in the state of Florida. Now, of course, Governor DeSantis put her in her place. But, you see, there's some discrepancies here, and that has a lot to do with why I think even now Crist's campaign is dead in the water. For example, I work at a school, a college. I'm not going to say which one because I like to keep my job. And I overheard teachers at said college who, mind you, in their values, Nikki Fried was the candidate. However, because the United Teachers of Dade, and this is in Dade County, and the American Federation of Teachers strongly back Charlie Crist, they're instructed to vote for Charlie Crist. Now, let's go back. What year was it? 2006. So let's go back. What is it? 18 years? No. 8 years. No. I'm not too good at math. I'm having a little bit of a Joe Biden moment here. 14 years. Yes, when Charlie Crist became governor of Florida. In 2006, as a Republican, he supported school choice, and the Democrats were labeling him orange and calling Orange Man bad. Now, you see how they don't, nothing is really original with the Democrats, because they use this whole spiel on Trump and everything else, Orange Man bad. Now, I guess if you take a picture of Charlie Crist today and put him next to Donald Trump today, which one's a little more orange? I'm guaranteeing you it's going to be Charlie Crist. And then, of course, we all know he ran for Senate as an independent candidate against Marco Rubio and Kendrick Meek, who was the Democrat at that time. And then he ran for governor again in 2014 as a Democrat, where he got beat by the incumbent Rick Scott. This year, according to the Wall Street Journal, as I said, the American Federation of Teachers has donated $500,000 to him, which, again, as the Wall Street Journal says, it's unsurprising that Hernandez Motz, who is his running mate, strongly opposes school choice. She has also said that even charter schools And private schools shouldn't be funded with public tax dollars because they do not have any public oversight. DeSantis-backed candidates, however, on the other hand, in the school board elections across the state, which were nonpartisan, won huge. In fact, the biggest ever. Like, it never happens that way. So, again, the fact that Charlie Crist kisses the ass of the teachers and everything else, it just it makes tons of sense here. And we have also evidence here. This is why I say Crist is screwed, because Terry McAuliffe, who is against school choice and everything else, well, he got his ass handed to him in Virginia, which has been a blue state for 20 years. Got beat by Glenn Youngkin in a state that Biden carried by 10 points. Now, Trump only carried Florida by 3 points in 2020. So that's giving you a big thing. And a Virginia mother had told CNN that the nail in the coffin was the American Federation of Teachers head Randy Weingarten stumped for McAuliffe the night before the election. And again, like McAuliffe, Mrs. Hernandez-Motz has publicly disdained parents. She tweeted a meme likening parents who expressed their views at school board meetings to serial killers and horror movie villains, and commented, "For any of you following the school board meetings, the craziness is real." Okay, now let me give you my take on that right now. Actually, I've heard Fernandez-Motz speak multiple times. She's on the Brian Mudd show numerous times. Brian Mudd was always heckling her about, why do you teachers get to stay home and not really do your job, which prohibits the parents of these children from going to work, but they still have to pay their property taxes if they lose their homes. And of course, like any typical Democrat or teacher, she beats around the bush. In fact, in Hialeah, for those of you that aren't familiar with Florida, Hialeah is like super Cuban, potentially maybe the most Cuban part of Miami, if not the state of Florida itself. And Crist decided to announce he was choosing Motz as his running mate in Hialeah, at Hialeah Middle School. Of course, outside, there were tons of Cubans with pictures of Fernandez-Motz, sometimes in Castro hats and whatnot, dressed as Fidel, or pictures of him next to Fidel, saying, "Comunista." She is, folks. She is. So, there you have it. The only reason that Charlie Crist is the nominee to run against DeSantis is because the teachers' unions made it that way. And you had no say in that if you're a property owner in the state of Florida, because your tax money goes to the teachers who donate to the unions as part of their job. And then the unions give the money to whoever they see fit, which, of course, is always going to be a Democrat, since over 78%, and that was a while back, of teachers identify as Democrats. If you're a teacher and you're a Republican, maybe you should find a way to get out of the union so you don't have to donate to Democrats that you don't want to be in power. Now, a lot of notes on this, folks. Oh, we also got to get into California here. Lots of notes. Okay, this was from the old one. Just bear with me for a minute, folks. Don't go anywhere. I'm getting everything set up so you have the most quality that I can give you. Okay. For any of you that didn't see Biden's speech last night, you should go and look it up. And as I said, YouTube doesn't allow hate speech. I'm surprised they have it on there, because that speech of Biden's was pure, unadulterated hate speech. No question about it. No way, no shape, no form. First, he had said before his press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, who openly said, well, I'm most qualified for this job because I'm gay, I'm a woman, and I'm black. I guess that's really a way to advance and rank with woke organizations nowadays. So anyhow, he basically, not even 2 minutes into the speech, folks, he starts saying Trump and the MAGA Republicans are the biggest threat to American democracy. He goes to say that MAGA Republicans don't believe in the Constitution or the rule of law. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backward, but fan the flames of political justice and hate. No, actually, Joe, the flames of political violence. I meant to say political violence, not political justice, because he talks all about justice all the time. Political violence, Joe. I don't think that has anything to do with MAGA Republicans. I mean, sure, there was a few hours on an afternoon in January 6th, which Joe said several previously in his other rally in Pennsylvania 3 days ago, which surprisingly, folks, he's doing all these rallies in Pennsylvania. You don't see John Fetterman there. Probably because Fetterman is more cognitive of a mess, if you can find that possible, than Joe Biden. Yes, no, Fetterman's things are complete and total world salads. Don't fool yourself. That's why they're keeping him in the basement just like they did Biden. He won't even debate Dr. Oz. And if you don't debate somebody, how the hell does anybody know what you stand for? All you have to do is say, Trump, bad, I want to legalize weed. And then there you go. You get the entire Democrat Party of Pennsylvania. But if you can't put sense together, sense or a sentence, you got some problems. And that's why he doesn't just like Brandon, the second debate, if there would have been 3 debates, but they wanted the second one to be virtual and Trump refused. Maybe he should have done it. Maybe that would have changed the outcome of things. Well, the outcome of things would have changed if that Facebook didn't censor the Hunter Biden thing. But anyhow, so he keeps going on, and again, the fan the flames of political violence statement. The whole summer of 2020, where there was violence everywhere, people like Kamala Harris saying, well, they're not going to stop, and they shouldn't stop, and we need to get them bailed out of jail, and we need to defund the police, maybe even abolish the police. I mean, that was going on the whole summer. People were smashing windows, smashing doors, and, killing cops, bottles, bricks, Molotov cocktails. And the Democrats, and besides that, stores and buildings, they were boarding up their windows before the election. They weren't boarding up their windows and doors because they were afraid of Biden winning. They were afraid of Trump winning. 570 riots, which resulted in a lot more deaths than the few hours on January 6th, where the only death was Ashley Babbitt, one of the Trump supporters, one of the MAGA Republicans. And then 2 cops that died of suicide afterwards, which, who knows? I think one of them was going through a divorce, but they don't tell you that. It was probably about to get cleaned out. The other one, there was one that had a stroke and 2 that committed suicide. Yeah, several cops died as a result of January 6th. It's a threat to our democracy. So basically everything that Joe has described the MAGA Republicans as, the Democrats are. He goes on to say, America must choose to be a nation of hope, democracy, optimism. MAGA wants a nation of fear. Well, Joe, you kind of made a nation of fear with your vaccine mandates, your inflation, your blackouts, people can't afford gas, food shortages because fertilizer mandates and everything else, and this, that, and the other thing. No wonder MAGA, we didn't have any of this. None. And if there weren't COVID, MAGA would still exist. Sometimes I think, folks, that the worst mistake Trump ever made was not firing Dr. Fauci. He goes on to continue. Don't encourage violence. Once again, what about Commie and the Democrats encouraging it in 2020? Democrat cities letting out criminals. There was just a guy, I think it was in Portland, Oregon, who he had been arrested 5 times for attacking his girlfriend or whatever. He got out again and again, just out, no bail. He killed her. That's what they like to do. That's what they like to do. I'm not finished. I still got a lot more to get to on Brandon's speech. Biden also went on to say, you can't love your country only after you win. Wait a minute. What about in 2016 when Trump won? When Trump won for years, pretty much all of Trump's presidency, the Democrats were saying the election was stolen, Russia collusion, this, and the other thing. Did any of them get censored on YouTube for misinformation? I don't think so. But they touted it for 4 years. The entire term of Trump's presidency. They couldn't get over the fact that people were sick of the Democrat ways. And the lies and the mandates and the high gas prices and everything else. Now, gas prices now are about what they were before Trump took office, but they're still $1 and change above when he left office. And that's all because of Brandon and the Democrats. It doesn't really make much sense to me. Any of this stuff that he's saying, I really don't think that, a lot of it doesn't make sense to me. This is essentially, folks, a rallying cry in the fear of the impending red wave. This is what Joe was doing with all this crap. He's trying to rally them up. He's trying to get them behind him. But that's a very small base of the Democrat. A lot of Democrats are pissed about this, so much the fact that he had to walk back some of those comments today. He also said, today, America's economy is the best in the world. No, first off, it's not. Until China takes over. Actually, I think England has the best. Actually, China has the best economy in the world when you get right down to it. Because, they own half of our crap. Then he talks about, make prescription drugs more affordable. We're going to do that. Well, you're not helping DeSantis very much there. You're not doing much about that. Won't let him get it from Canada. Talks about climate change. Okay. Look at California. They're not allowed. They're not allowed to charge your Tesla so much. This, that, or the other thing. So anyhow, that's enough of that. Oh, before I close this out, because I thought I have somebody over here, and I thought it was going to be, he goes, yeah, get engaged and vote, 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 vote. Yeah, for Democrats. It was 24 minutes of pure hate speech. Note the green hue behind Biden and the red and everything else makes it look like Scar from The Lion King. Or as Clay and Buck said, Emperor Palpatine about to say execute Order 66 with the 2 Marines behind him standing at attention. The student loan forgiveness, I think the student loan forgiveness should only apply to students who could not go to class and failed their classes because of the COVID shutdowns. Now, the quick thing about the climate change crap, heard this on the Brian Mudd Show. Basically, we've only had 4 named storms this season, which is the lowest since 1984. And part of that has to do with the Saharan dust. You know, Saharan dust kind of impedes tropical storm formation. And guess what? Saharan dust rises from global warming. And a lot of places aren't underwater anymore. Think about that for a bit, folks. Anyhow, this is that. Let's go, Brandon. Do tune in next week. We'll have a lot more to get to. Like I said, I had a bit more, but I was I was kind of slowing down here and got a little sidetracked. Hold on a second. I'll be right there. Finishing off my show here. So anyhow, like I say, enjoy. And do share this. Do share this. I had one that got over 5,000 views. I don't know how that happened. Let's go, Brandon.